I want to talk about being pushy in sales. This is Mark Silver with Heart of Business. And we were having a conversation within our learning community, and someone was really wanting to generate sales, and they needed to, and they should, and they could, and they have a great thing that they do. But they didn't want to be pushy. And of course, who the frick wants to be pushy? It's so gross, it's so spiritually out of alignment, it's so unethical. But it's not a binary, a polarity between either being unethically pushy or just being totally collapsed and not doing anything. And so what I want to do right now is I want to talk about 3 things that make sales pushy so that you can avoid them and understand the alternatives to them, so that you can still have some passion and some engagement and some proactivity without being pushy. So the first element that makes something pushy is when all of the motivation, or most of the motivation, or maybe the most present for you of the motivation for getting clients is your own need for money. That creates pushiness, where there's kind of like this unconscious subtext saying, please sign up because I need to get paid. And that can come out really gross, even if you're not saying it. It kind of is there. And yet the problem is that you really do need to get paid, and you don't want to shove that down or pretend it's not there. And the remedy for this one is to acknowledge your need to yourself, to your own heart, and do whatever you do to connect spiritually. We teach people to connect in remembrance. We do a thing also, there's an exercise around clearing neediness, which is really important. And then deeply connect with why you care about the other person, why you want to see them succeed, why the offer that you want, that you're offering to them might be really good for them, for their own reasons. And connecting with that is, a cure for that kind of pushiness. The second thing that creates pushiness is when you're telling people what to think. And this comes out in all kinds of ways. Some of the more gross ways that I've seen it come out is when you get those emails that I thankfully haven't seen one in a while, from folks saying, oh, you haven't, signed up for my offer yet. What? You don't care about your business? You don't care about growing your business? And equating me not signing up for their offer with somehow not caring about my business or not wanting, things for my business. And, it's like when you come out with a lot of prescription and a lot of definitiveness of saying, like, if this, then you definitely want this offer. If this, then you should absolutely sign up for this offer. And what you're telling people to do is what to think. You're telling people how to make their own decisions. That's pushy. It's gross. The remedy for this is to just create some spaciousness. If you're struggling with X, this offer might resonate with you. If this is an issue for you, whatever that issue is that you're speaking to, you may want to take a look at this. I invite you to take a look at this. I love helping people with this. This might meet your needs. I encourage you to take a look and see for yourself. This kind of spaciousness in the decision making, instead of the pushiness of telling people what to think, allows you to keep showing up proactively but not be pushy. And a third piece that contributes to pushiness, and there's more than 3, I'm sure, but these 3 are big ones, is when you control the timeline of their decision making. And and not allow for their own process with it. Now, with some offers, there is going to be an inherent deadline. There's a class and it starts on a certain date, or there's a cohort and it starts on a certain date, or you only have space for X number of people, and if it sells out, that's it, and that's allowed. That's legit. Adults, get that. And so you can still mention these kinds of boundaries, but you don't have to enforce it on them, saying you have to decide. And some of the ways this is done is sometimes when if you're on a call and somebody says, if you decide before you hang up, I'll give you X amount of discount, or you better decide now or it's going to sell out and then you'll miss out and you'll be doomed. This kind of enforcement that kind of ramps up the nervous system and creates that kind of reactivity is spiritually and ethically and emotionally gross and manipulative. You can say things like I did recently, like, oh, there's only one spot left. If you're drawn to this might be a good time for you to take a look. If this is important to you, you might want to take some time to look at it now. Just offering the suggestion and mentioning the timeline, but giving them the decision about what their pacing is with it is really what it's about. So, there are people out in the world who really need what you do. They really need what you do. And I want you to show up with passion. I want you to show up with real desire to help them. To tell people, I love helping people with this. I think what you're doing is really beautiful and really important, and I want to help. Or I think that your health is really important, or whatever it is that you help with, that you express that desire and that passion for supporting them. But you're not putting your own needs on them. You're not telling them what to think or what their decision or lack of decision means or doesn't mean. And you're not enforcing a timeline on them through attempting to activate their nervous system or create a story of judgment or failure if they don't act on your timeline. In that way, you won't be pushy and you'll still be showing up proactively. So I'd be really curious to hear, how would you follow through with this in your own offer? What kind of questions come up? What kind of gray areas do you see that you would need help discerning? I wish the very best to you and your business.